and welcome back to Comic Books Go to the Movies. I'm Sean Basinger, the Fox in the Fedora, and with me are...
Conan Bell, a.k.a. Fighting Leaf.
Zach Elliott, Minutes to Games guy, man.
Rory Griffin, a.k.a. the Tiger Wolf 55.
And this is our 6th episode of Comic Books Go to the Movies. All right. So once again, we are joined by both Conan and Zach.
Woo!
Hi.
And we have very few topics today because we want to get to something very special, but we're going to keep that a secret until the end. So for now, we're just going to go straight into the main news topics. First of all, we have gotten our first look at Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Four reboot movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I have the link in the description below if people want to check that out.
And you're going to want to.
And yeah. Okay, let's go one at a time here for comments. Let's start with Conan.
Okay, so, when I first looked at him, my first thought was, maybe he'll look better after they apply some CGI to him. But because without the CGI, he looks like a bundle of old socks. Why does my supervillain look like a bundle of old socks? This is not a typical supervillainy thing to do unless you're Quilt Man from the old Batman comics.
Which by far is the scariest of all Batman villains as we know.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, what is up with that suit? That's one of the big questions. When I did like a zoom in and I'm like, so it's not Doctor Doom, but a Cyberman in burned rags.
It's not even the modern Cyberman. It's the very first classic Doctor Who version of the Cyberman.
That takes us to Zach. Zach, your thoughts.
My thoughts. He looks like paper mache with one arm.
Yay.
You're right. It's like they couldn't find an actor, so they're just like,
Paper mache, stop motion, go!
I want to see Dr. Doom in stop motion now.
Only thing is that I want it to be the very poor stop motion from like the Rankin Bass films.
The Fantastic Four Christmas special. Dr. Doom steals Christmas. Yes.
Doctor Doom steals Christmas up to the Fantastic Four to team up with Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer to save Christmas from the evil Doctor Doom will turn Santa Claus evil too.
what?
Why can't this be a thing?
It probably is, and we're just not aware of it.
A Fantastic Four Christmas special.
Put one Doom in front of the other.
Do 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 do. And soon you will be clobber time! Do 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 do.
Okay, but yeah, seriously. Okay, Rory, the thoughts on the Doctor Doom costume.
Yeah, again, he looks like just the classic Cyberman costume. I don't know what's up with this. If you look closely, you can see that there are some detailings on the suit itself, so I highly doubt that they're actually going to utilize a lot of CG on this thing. If they do, I'm going to be surprised. I think what we have is what we have. And I'm wondering what happened. You're making the Doctor Doom costume from the 2004 or 5 film, I forget when it was released exactly, look credible. I mean, at least that one had some class to it. This one has nothing. When are we going to get the Royal Doctor Doom armor? When?
Well, not now, that's what.
Yeah, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, now, okay, granted, this is an in-production photo. Anything could be happening here. For all we know, that suit isn't even the suit. It's like burned off him after he fights Human Torch.
And you know what? That's something I'm trying to keep in mind. I'm trying to keep an open possibility that our bad guy is not going to be someone's laundry throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, let's keep in mind, though, that we had a Doctor Doom got burned out by Johnny Storm in the first movie. That turned out great.
It's like they're just recycling plot devices or something because the writers have no ideas.
It's an eco-friendly plot.
That, and also I'm thinking, okay, so we all know that the movie finished filming, like, I think in less than 3 months, and I think that's faster than Iron Man 2 got done filming. They got done filming in 72 days, and uh, we haven't seen anything from like the set or anything aside from what the Thing may look like, now what Doctor Doom looks like, and then they went to Mardi Gras and filmed something there. But that's all we got. We don't know really what's happening, and from what we heard, it sounds like they're just changing tons of stuff. Like, I even heard from a friend that apparently Mr. Fantastic has no stretch powers.
That makes sense because stupid.
So I guess he's not gonna be that fantastic, is he?
That was bad joke, and you should feel bad.
Bad joke was intentionally bad, and I am bowing right now for said bad joke.
I applaud you for said bad joke.
I do appreciate said bad joke. Let us continue on with our discussion.
I'm getting the feeling that a lot of these movies lately, if you're not Marvel, they're just delivering lies in their titles. Amazing Spider-Man was not amazing. The Fantastic Four are not going to be fantastic.
The Incredible Hulk was meh.
But it's true. When you get this, if you're not Marvel Studios at Disney, it's like they're not doing what the comics or any of the other source material, has put forth. They're kind of making up their own stuff. So it's like, so now we've got the potential of Doctor Doom being Ragman, and we've got we've got who knows what else? No, non Mr. Fantastic, or just Mr. Sort of Interesting. I don't know.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed.
So it's just like, we'll just have to wait. Oh, and also there's another villain in the movie.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, there's a second villain in the movie. It's the Mole Man.
No.
What?
Yep,
No.
the Mole Man.
Oh my goodness.
He's a classic villain and all that and whatnot, but what?
Yeah, he was the first adversary the Fantastic Four ever fought, and he's apparently in the movie. But get this, okay, so he's played by actor Tim Blake Nelson, who was actually previously in the Incredible Hulk from 2008. He was going to be the leader, but Marvel dropped that storyline apparently because they haven't done another Hulk movie, and now he's been casted as the Mole Man. And according to one interview I read, it said that he would be developed over multiple films.
Wait, but
So they
what?
expect that there's going to be more films.
Hang on. Wait. Your first mistake is that you're trying to develop something called Mole Man. What? Okay. I know that characters are characters. They all have their chance to bring something new and interesting to the table. But, there are certain characters in the comics that never really have very much potential or need to be particularly deep. I mean, like
Blastar.
this is not something that you're ever going to be able to take seriously. Mole Man.
I will take Mole Man. I will take Mole Man seriously as probably one of the greatest Shakespearean villains of all time.
I mean, the leader you could potentially take seriously as a kind of either tragic fall story of some kind, but this is a friggin' Mole Man.
Well, it's like, look at it this way. It's like they're doing the opposite of what we want them to do. We want Doctor Doom to be built up over 3 movies and use other villains as his, like, henchmen. You know, Mole Man could have been like the first movie villain, and then we could have foreshadowed the idea of Doctor Doom, similar to the way they were building up the Mandarin in the Iron Man trilogy. You have like the mention of the Ten Rings in the first movie, and they're like, oh, the Mandarin's out there. He's out there somewhere. You got the Mandarin, the Ten Rings gangster in the second one, who gives Whiplash the ticket to Monaco. So they kept building up the Mandarin, and it's like, of course, you know, fans got what they got, but at the same time, they were building it up. Why can't we do that with Doctor Doom?
Because Mole Man.
Because Mole Man is... Because what I think is going to happen is that they're George Lucasing it. They believe that Mole Man is going to become the most profitable character that has ever been conceived and will soon become an even better villain than Doctor Doom. Because which sounds more threatening, Doctor Doom or Mole Man?
I don't know. Let's check The Simpsons.
Yeah, good point on that one.
But yeah, it's just like, what is even going on? What is happening? But I don't even think we got a story yet. I think they just kind of, you know, gave us. The director did a Twitter interview recently, and
Guess the answers couldn't be that long, could they?
Nope. They were very pointed.
Oh.
he was asked some questions about if they were going to have super suits. He said, yeah, they have super suits, but they're not tight.
Oh.
He said, you know, it's like, is Doctor Doom really awesome? He's like, terrifying. I'm like, well, I'd be terrified if I saw a hobo in a Cyberman mask coming towards me, too.
Oh my gosh, he's the cyber hobo!
Hey, come on, that's one of my 7 fears.
Anyway, so just to wrap up the whole Fantastic Four discussion, yeah, so we've got Doctor Doom, who is in rags and looks like a Cyberman, and Mole Man to be developed over time. So, yeah.
It really sounds like this thing was filmed on opposite day, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, Mixie Spitlick is making movies!
What? You didn't know?
He's trolling everyone.
Next up on our list, we have some Avengers Age of Ultron news. Turns out there is some... there's word going around that by the end of the film, the Avengers team will be completely different from what it is right now. Captain America will be on the team, of course, but it looks like the next team could be Captain America, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and they said that Miss Marvel was supposed to appear.
Oh, like in those comic books that everyone thinks I should be reading right now, but I'm currently not.
And why are you not?
Because I felt like buying a comic book in which Superman fell into a baseball field instead.
Which is by far one of the greatest comic books of all time.
Okay, so one at a time here. We'll start with Rory. What's your thoughts about the changing out of the team, and how do you think this will affect the continuing story arc leading up to, of course, the Infinity Gauntlet?
Well, this is nothing new for Avengers. If you take a look at the comics, they've got a constant rotating roster, even to the point where title characters themselves end up getting changed out. Just look at the recent changes to Thor and Captain America in the comics. For the movies, can't say yet for what we're getting. We only know a few of the characters outright. We still have yet to really get a good look at Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. If they introduce Carol Danvers as Miss Marvel, I will be all for that. She's an awesome character, and it will definitely add some interesting dynamics, because they could possibly tie in at least a couple of these characters into the Infinity Gauntlet story more organically than, say, Hulk.
That's the thing, though. A lot of people are actually kind of going like, well, that would be keeping with, you know, how the comics have worked with, you know, the roster going in and out. But at the same time, it would feel really weird to, you know, you built up the first Avengers with all these characters, and now it's like, well, see you later. We got these other characters we just threw in there at the last second, and now you should like them. So...
Yeah, and kind of like there's also one thing is that we were not introduced those characters in like solo films like we were with the original Avengers. So these are sort of going to be coming out of place and just come out of nowhere.
Now they're the ones copying off of DC.
Well,
We also have to keep in mind that they also have to plan for the future films in which the current roster of Avengers are just not going to be available anymore, because unlike the comics, actors age. They're not going to be able to keep on going on forever, so they need to bear in mind that even now. So,
Start setting up your future team so that you can have movies about them.
exactly.
Conan, what's your thoughts?
I think that while this sort of thing happens commonly in the comics with the changing roster, it's also annoying in the comics for various reasons. And in movies, movies kind of gives you something a little bit more stable. I would imagine most of the time, because actors switching in and out of movie franchises is a little bit less fluid. But I was kind of hoping that this Avengers team would have been a little bit more stable. But I'm not opposed to adding members or changing members. It's just that, well, the change, as long as the changes happen in a way that's relatively organic. And another advantage that the comic books have with changing over the movies is that all the other characters, they did have their own series to be properly introduced. The characters here, they didn't have any of their own intro movies, so we're going to have to learn to care about them from scratch relatively quickly. And that's another issue. I'm not saying that it's bad that the team is changing. It's just, well, you had a good thing going here, and the fact that you're changing it should imply that A, you've either got a really good reason to start changing something, or B, that we are starting to take some risks that may or may not be necessary.
I think maybe that, especially with the success, if they go this route, with the success of things like Guardians of the Galaxy, like, I mean, it just became 2014's highest grossing film, like, thus far. Um,
Get beat up, I have it. Sorry.
um, the I think maybe what they're banking on, again, if they do this, is that, hey, we established a whole team in one movie and made people like them. If we do that over here, I think we can do it again. Of course, it's a different scenario with different characters, because not everyone is Groot, not everyone is Rocket Raccoon. So to make people, really enjoy, really like these characters, like these two, the two siblings, this Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, uh, or any other character they're going to introduce, is a lot to work with, because it really comes down to, how likable are they? What's their story? Do we really connect with these characters? And will we be able to, like, sit there and be like, after the movie, hey, I'd like to see more of these characters, whether it be in another Avengers film or a solo film? And whether they can pull that off, we'll just have to wait and see.
And also, there's actually something else that we have to consider too, about like all these new characters they want to introduce in Avengers 2, is that unlike Guardians of the Galaxy, which like every character in that movie was from scratch except for like maybe one, which was Thanos, but even then he only had like a cameo at the end of Avengers. But like for this one, like for Avengers 2, we already have a whole cast that like Iron Man. Like everyone knows Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Incredible Hulk. Everyone knows these characters. And then you got to care about this other half of characters. And it could become a mess because like you want to start, "Oh, I want to see more about these guys." And why are we focusing on these guys that like they just appeared in this film? I really want to see more about the characters I already know, not these other guys that just came out of nowhere.
And that's a good point, because it's like, hey, we're practically, maybe aside from Iron Man, we're practically in mid development for Thor, Captain America, and even the Hulk. We want to see these characters, grow and become more interesting, fulfill their stories in the similar way that Iron Man fulfilled his. And you're right, to suddenly throw in Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, maybe Miss Marvel, the Vision, it's like, oh, quickly care about these people now. It's like, okay, I really wanted to see more of Thor and Captain America, but
But we got to have more screen time for these guys. Because like it could be something similar to like what happened with Thor in the Dark World, where like Like the main villain didn't even get as much screen time as Loki, just because everyone loved Loki, so they had to give more screen time to Loki. Which, hey, nothing wrong. I mean, I love Loki. I mean, hey, my avatar is Loki on the screen right now, so that's a thing.
But yeah, so very interesting stuff with Avengers: Age of Ultron. And since while we're on Marvel, real quick, I have one other little bit of a note here. They've been talking about Captain America 3 recently, which will be the next one, the second movie in the Phase 3 lineup. Uh, the One of the things they were talking about, the writers, is that they wanted to keep a similar feel to the Winter Soldier, but they wanted to do something different. And one of the stories that they're looking at is a more modern story called Secret War. This is not Secret Wars like the story where like that alien Beyonder takes all the Marvel heroes and villains to outer space to fight. This Secret War, based on from my knowledge, is Nick Fury leading a strike team of superheroes into another country without permission. So possible, story there. You could call it like Captain America: The Secret War. It would, something like that. But they've been talking about it. They said there's going to be a big cast of characters they're going to have in the movie alongside Captain America, and should be interesting.
Yay!
All right, guys. Now on to the main event.
Oh boy.
All right, guys. To the audience. Recently, I have come across something so fantastic, I couldn't believe it. I was told about this by my dad, who actually found it. And at first I was like, "No, you're joking. This is not true. This is not a real thing. It could have been a real thing, but technically it is a real thing considering that it's in treatment form at the moment, but I couldn't believe it one way or another. There is a treatment for a Batman versus Godzilla movie.
Run! Run now! Run for your no good, insignificant lives!
Allow me to clarify for the audience, though. This Godzilla is not hopping around Tokyo City like a big playground, with Batman bursting from the shade and hitting Godzilla with a bat grenade. So sadly, it is not as awesome as that cartoon. This one's more interesting, to say the least.
At the end of or close to the end of the 1960s Batman TV show run, Greenway Productions was actually looking to do a crossover feature film with Godzilla, and it was actually going to be canon with the Godzilla series at the time, and that was how they were going to go out. And the story is absolutely.
If you are a fan of the campiest bits of the 1960s show, you are going to drool over this one.
I'm already drooling just thinking about it.
I'm just drooling in general.
Oh, well, sorry about that.
I will now read the treatment for the audience, and then whenever I get to a point, I will stop at certain points and let the co-hosts here have a say. So when I say stop, we will go from Conan to Rory to Zach.
Oh, brilliant.
All right, here we go. The story starts with Police Commissioner Gordon and his daughter Barbara. They are taking a well-deserved rest aboard a cruise ship. Gordon is making this a semi-business trip by visiting various police facilities to learn how wrongdoers are dealt with in other countries. Barbara is eager to renew acquaintances with a college chum of hers, Riko Hamamoto, who currently holds the post of assistant librarian in Western culture at the University of Tokyo. The trip has been quite uneventful for the first 4 days, and they are now only 1 day out of Tokyo and strolling the deck in what appears to be fine autumn weather. Suddenly, without any warning, an enormous tidal wave rocks the boat and causes it to dance as if it were a toy. Many people are swept overboard and actually drown. Barbara and her father only manage to survive when the water sweeps from inside an open door. rather than across the deck. The boat stays afloat but is severely damaged. Investigation shows that no tidal wave has been predicted. Indeed, radar had only seen the wave come up less than 3 miles away from the ship for no apparent reason. The ship limbs into Tokyo Bay for repairs. At the hotel, Gordon is contacted by an old friend of his, Ito Nagano, Outerpol's Far Eastern chief. Stop.
Sigh.
Ooh.
Okay, there's already a problem with this particular story script-a-majigger.
I know, it's unbelievable that Japan would have a librarian, isn't it?
Not the point! You be quiet!
So,
Conan Stern first. Conan Stern first.
so Conan, what are your words?
My words are as follows. Everyone who's watching the episode has read the title of the episode come up on the big TV screen. Everyone knows what's causing the water mathinger, so there's no mystery to the audience. So right now we're just derping around until everybody figures out what the audience already knows. Godzilla is back, and he's making life difficult for Japanese people like he always does. Can we just skip to the part where Batman takes out his anti-giant monster repellent and starts spraying him with it?
All right. Rory.
Oh, gotta love Outer Pole.
I know, right?
Okay, so this Commissioner Gordon is a real workaholic. Even on a vacation, he still has to look into how other people detain their criminals. I wonder if they have to deal with anybody like Egghead themselves. Sounds like a typical Batman 66 start so far.
All right, Zach.
Continue with the story.
You have no words yet.
Not yet. I want to hear the whole story before I give my analysis.
All right, I will continue. Nagano tells Gordon that there have been a series of natural disasters similar to the tidal wave in the past 48 hours. All of them have occurred with no warning. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced this city.
Mabetsu.
Mambetsu, thank you. Normally a very cold city at this time of year, suffered through a heat wave that sent temperatures up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit and caused many people to die of the heat. Gordon has shown films of this happening and various things melting on the street. The highest previous temperature was 136.4 degrees at San Luis, Mexico, August 11th, 1933. Further, an earthquake shook Kushiro and destroyed many buildings. But the Richter seismograph measured no underground movement, yet the earth crumbled and thousands were lost. Japan is at a loss to determine why. Barbara presses Nagano and learns that the only clue might be the presence of Klaus Finster, a German meteorologist who was recently emigrated from 20 years in Argentina. In other words, a freaking Nazi. All right, stop.
Oh, those Nazis. Always making things difficult for the free world.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Yes, back to my earlier comment. Guys, we know the big green thing is stomping around, exploding things with his magical breath powers. We know what we're building up to. We stop toying with us and our emotions. Stop toying with it. Can we just get to the part where he appears on screen and starts smashing things? Because that's all he's good for in these types of situations. Come on. I want to see Godzilla stepping on stuff, dance on skyscrapers, and swinging his tail around at the bat plane or something. Stop making us wait.
Go ahead, Rory.
Conan, you paint the prettiest pictures. Okay. So not only is Batman fighting Godzilla, but he's fighting Nazis. I am going to hold off on my full thoughts until the end for that one.
All right, and Zach?
I think we probably have here one of the greatest pieces of literature that has ever come to be. Because if we see here that Godzilla has shown himself to be a true psychologically themed character, he has true motivation in what he is trying to do, in which that he is trying to fight the Nazis and defeat Batman all at the same time. We must truly feel how Godzilla must be feeling right now. If he were to here to talk to us right now, he would say, or, I feel bad.
Zach, you scare me sometimes.
Yeah, I scare me too.
All right, onward. Continuing. Finster approached the government just yesterday and claimed he was the person who was controlling the weather. They laughed at him and shunted him aside, as it is well known that no man can do such a thing. Finster, in a fit of rage, has said he will destroy the Japanese mainland within 7 days if he is not immediately paid $5 million in gold. Stop.
You know, this part right here seems like the most credible part of the entire situation.
Really?
Yes, it seems like a guy just runs into the police station. I am the one controlling the weather! And everyone would stare at him and say, you crazy. You go somewhere else now. Bye-bye. No, seriously! I am totes controlling the weather! Didn't you see the craziness going on here? I did that craziness! What are you doing? Get the coat off of me! I'm not insane! I'm not insane! I'll show you all! Give me $5 million or I kill you all with weather! I am a culturally sensitive individual.
Little do they know that the true mastermind behind that weather is right here.
I didn't do it.
Okay, anyway, so Rory, thoughts about Madman sending message to the government saying, hey, I have control over the weather, but then they just go, ha ha ha.
Well, to be honest, why would they think that some loony bin would be able to control the weather? So, give them the benefit of the doubt for now, but, for somebody who can control the weather and create all these incredible natural disasters, $5 million? I realize that this was just the 60s/70s, but, come on. And besides that, you're demanding dollars from Japan? Logical fail.
But then again, I'd also like to point out you live in a world where there are super criminals running around in Gotham City doing all kinds of crazy things, and there is a giant lizard stomping around your city almost every other week. I'd like to just point that out. So controlling the weather, I don't know. I think I'd actually take another look at that.
Well, I don't know. Let's take a real look at the supervillains that Batman faces. There are no clay faces, no poison ivies. The supernatural stuff really doesn't happen. It's just kooks. So,
Yeah, the Joker had a magic box.
not that magical.
Joker had a magic box.
All right, so Zach, any thoughts?
Let's see, my thoughts on, you see, all I can think of is just, if this was actually made, and we just hear the narrator just say, like, meanwhile, in Japan, I was about to say the Gotham City Police Department. They're that diverse. They're all the way in Japan apparently, and basically like they would go like an evil scientist, Dr. Fister, tried to convince the government that he could control the weather. For some reason, they did not believe him.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some strange reason, they didn't believe this crazy kookmeister could control I'm sorry. I'm the narrator, and even I'm having trouble keeping a straight face in this.
Quick, hire the other narrator who can take this. And so the evil doctor decided, I'm going to control the weather and destroy the world, and he did, and he received $1 billion.
No, 5 million. That's it.
He received $5 million in gold from Japan. Do not ask about currency. The entire world runs on dollars.
All right, anyway, continuing with the story. Gordon says it looks like a case for Batman. He'll call. Ito smiles and says he would not request Gordon directly to do such a thing, but knew Gordon would understand the roundabout way of asking. Gordon immediately puts in a long-distance call to his office in Gotham City. Barbara leaves to visit her friend at the library, or so she says. Actually, she goes out and purchases a Japanese motorcycle while her father is busy contacting Batman. After buying it and renting space in an empty garage, she converts it into a bat cycle. Gordon has asked Chief O'Hara to get Batman to call him back in Japan. Time differences being what they are, Bruce Wayne is roused out of a sound sleep to take the call. He phones Gordon as Batman and says that he will be in Tokyo within 12 hours. It will be his extreme pleasure to aid the Imperial government in overcoming any danger. He does this after first checking with O'Hara to see if there are any arch-villains on the loose in Gotham City. It wouldn't do to leave the town unguarded. O'Hara assures him that he will watch the city and will let Batman know if he's needed to quell any disturbances. Gotham City is officially doomed.
No. Do not mess with O'Hara. O'Hara is better than Batman.
O'Hara will end you.
Moving on.
Thus reassured, Batman and Robin drive out to the airport where Alfred already has the brand new Batjet warming up. They drive the Batmobile aboard the plane and take off. Ito notifies the government, who in turn notify the news media. Word goes out. Batman is coming. In an underground bunker deep beneath the heights of Mount Fuji, because why not, Klaus Finster, surrounded by sycophants, is planning his next move, a typhoon in Kagoshima, a city at the southern tip of Kyushu. He makes one further call to the government and says he will cause one disaster every day until, on the 7th day, he will completely destroy the country. Nobody believes him. Steaming, Klaus goes to an elaborate control board, replete with television screens and lots of dials and lights. It is with this control board that he controls the greatest natural disaster in a country known for natural disasters, Godzilla. We now learn that Klaus found Godzilla hibernating and implanted an electronic device in the monster's brain by which it can be manipulated. Klaus sits at what looks like almost like an airplane console and can make the monster move in any direction. At this moment, Godzilla is in 36,200 feet of water in the Marianas Trench, the deepest part of the sea, where he goes in between missions for Klaus. At that depth, he is impossible to find and kill. Klaus activates Godzilla, and we see him arise in the murky waters and begin to walk across the ocean floor, sending clouds of mud flying in every direction. Stop.
What the heck is a sycophant?
Don't you know what a sycophant is? It has 3 heads and 3 horns on top of its ear.
I don't care what you say.
Anyway, bad guy able to control Godzilla with mind control.
No, I'm not even at that point yet. I got more to say, because apparently I'm the only one who's going to voice his opinions before the very end. Now, okay, step 1. Excuse me, is this Batman? Yeah, I wasn't sleeping. I was totally watching the night. Japan? Let me check my schedule. Hey, you want to watch the city? Sure. Okay, I'll be there in 12 hours. Alfred, warm up the plane. We gotta go. And then, okay, that's not really me commentating on it. It's just me doing a stupid skit. But the thing that stood out to me was the fact that Batman, isn't he supposed to be some kind of under the cover of darkness type of covert operator kind of guy?
This is the 60s show. He does it during the day most of the time.
Well, that's stupid.
There were very few night shots in that show, dude.
I know, but he did. That's one of the many problems I have with the show in general. And so Batman is on his way over there. Everybody knows that he's gonna be on his way over there. What, is he some kind of... Is Batman a rock star?
Yes. Although he does not like rock and roll.
Well, this is true.
Rock and roll.
Punk is nothing but death and crime and the rage of a beast.
Yeah, that was the one.
Quotes.
Moving on from there, then you have Barbara purchasing a motorcycle because that won't leave a paper trail of any kind. Why not? And then renting a space in a garage, which probably won't make a paper trail of any kind, so why not? And then put together a bat cycle, which won't leave a paper trail of any kind. So actually, that probably wouldn't. But still, the point is, too many things that don't add up are happening now. And then all of a sudden, you have Mount Fuji, the basic go-to place for any bad guy in Japan to have his secret lair. He's under there renting the space from Villains R Us to control the greatest monster of all time, which is something that no other person has ever done, probably using surgical techniques that are impossible to do on Godzilla, and now using him to hide in a place that no one can find him. How did he find him in the first place? There are too many unanswered questions. And why isn't Astro Boy somewhere trying to help out the situation? Doesn't Japan have its own superheroes? I thought there were quite a few of them. Why did Batman have to show up? Don't the Power Rangers originally come from Japan? Or is this before the Power Rangers establishment?
Okay. All right, shh. It's okay, Conan.
Conan broke down.
None of this makes any sense.
Conan, have a cookie, okay? Have a cookie. You are thinking way too much about this.
Conan, allow me to give you a little clarification for you so that way then you can calm down, alright? This is 1966.
Everyone was stupid in 1966.
This is still the Batman who does appear at public gatherings, who is well known in the media and everything, who is a paragon of virtue for every little boy and girl in this universe. So yes, him going over to Japan would be a big deal.
And some days you just can't get rid of a bad plot point.
All right. So any other thoughts before I continue?
Okay, wow, Conan, you really tore that scene apart. But yes, we're delving into camp here. We are well into the camp. Bruce Wayne sleeping at night instead of patrolling the city as Batman. Chief O'Hara is going to be watching over Gotham City. Yeah, when Batman gets back, all of the inmates are going to be running everything. Batgirl recreating herself in Japan. Oh my gosh, it's the birth of Batman Inc. And, oh yeah, it's the Bat Jet, not the Bat Copter. So we would have had a brand new Bat device.
That's kind of cool.
That almost makes up for the huge rant that I went on just a second ago.
Shh, here's another cookie.
Let's see. One thing I will say this though, that it's like what Rory says, it does go all into the camp. But what I like is that it actually takes him 12 hours just to get from Gotham to Japan, which I don't think it would actually take that long considering he's using a jet.
Yeah, like in the next, when I continue reading here, it's like, meanwhile, as Godzilla trudges towards his next terrible deed, Batman and Robin are flying at thrice the speed of sound.
Thrice? Wait, it actually says thrice?
It says thrice here.
Alright, so this means, if it takes 12 hours, then what I can probably surmise is that Batman is just hanging out at the house, just like, it's like, Robert, like, we have to go to Japan to stop Godzilla. Cartoons.
Batman sitting at home watching cartoons to psych himself up.
Oh, no, wait, no, better yet. What he does, he rents all the Godzilla movies and watches them.
And the cartoon series with Godzuki.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember that show.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on now. Robin radios ahead to the Tokyo airport that they are arriving. They are instructed to use a Japan Airlines landing strip and terminal. The scene at the airport is pandemonium. If anyone can help the people of Japan, it's Batman. The plane lands and Batman is mobbed. The Batmobile is driven off the plane and is much admired by the adoring fans. Also watching this from afar on his monitors is Klaus Finster under Mount Fuji, because where else would he be? He gives orders to some unseen associate via a microwave radio. We see a European at the airport wearing a hearing aid walk towards Batman and Robin. He introduces himself as Count Dreidel.
Oh, Dreidel.
I don't know any other way to pronounce this.
Let me see. Maybe I can help. Where are we again? Where Count Dreidel? Oh, yeah, that's Dreidel.
Dreidel, yeah. I can't figure. I don't know if there's another way to pronounce it. If there is, I have no idea.
So until then, say it with an accent, like Count Dreidel.
Anyway, Count Dreidel, formerly of Gotham City and currently the representative of the Wayne Foundation in Tokyo. Robin wonders if this guy is for real, but Batman assures him in an aside that he is. However, Batman notices something different about the Count. He now wears his monocle in his left eye, whereas he used to wear it in his right. Suddenly, just as the Count is removing his monocle, Batman punches him. At that moment, a bullet flies out of the Count's left eye. A bullet? That's what it literally says. It says, a bullet? The Count is down for the count, and when Batman examines him, he sees that this is not the Count at all, but rather a clever robot painstakingly constructed of plastic, rubber, and transistors to resemble a human.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm about to stop so you'll have plenty of time. At the hotel, Nagano tells us that answer. The Count was found floating... sorry, I actually skipped the line. They actually wonder where the real Count is. At the hotel, Nagano tells us that answer. The Count was found floating under a bridge on the Sumida River. The only thing in his possession was a haiku poem which read, "To Batman, monsters don't know which way to go unless they are shown the way." 17 syllables. But what is it a clue to? Stop.
Okay, I've been holding this joke back. I can't hold it back no more. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made you out of metal and transistors and wires and stuff.
Okay, so, Conan, thoughts about robot counterattack?
Hold on, I think we should have Rory go first because last time we had him kind of tear it apart.
Okay, okay, Conan his head might explode. So, Rory, go ahead.
You cannot deny the awesomeness of this! You have Batman fighting robots and punching them out while guns are shooting out of their eyes! Oh my gosh, this is already turning out so very well. Dreidel.
He is punching out a robot named Dreidel.
Dreidel. What were they thinking? I think this is pretty obvious that this was before the whole racial sensitivity thing started blooming.
This was still
man.
the 60s, of course.
Yes, it was. So let's give them that leeway. How good deduction skills on Batman's part, noticing the monocle was on the wrong side. Bad move on the supervillain's part for noticing something like that. Yeah, just Batman punching out robots. When did this start happening?
Okay, I am going to continue on because I don't have much more to go until I say stop again, because now we get the line that will actually connect this to the current Godzilla universe.
All right, let's go.
Barbara Gordon returns with Riko Hamamoto. Nagano says the only monster he can remember in his lifetime was the dread Godzilla, but he is supposed to be dead after a battle with King Kong several years ago. Stop.
I know that movie. I saw that movie.
Yeah, that is actually a real thing, though.
Yeah.
Yep, King Kong versus Godzilla, and Godzilla lost. Sorry, spoilers.
Well, I think Godzilla, in all the fights that he had 41 wins, 7 ties, and 4 losses, which is still a pretty good streak.
Can't believe it. I don't believe there's actually a score.
Well, that's over all the movies that he's done from over half a century.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, just over half a century worth of material, and that's his win records as of today.
Godzilla versus King Kong happened, and everyone's wondering what the heck is going on with the weather. Why is this a thing?
Whoa, Godzilla and King Kong fought each other? Why is it snowing?
Yeah, but Godzilla is old news now. He's dead. Nobody needs to worry about him anymore. The Islands of Monsters, that's not a big deal or anything. They don't have to worry about that. And besides, none of the monsters really controlled weather to that extent, from what I can recall. So they shouldn't be worried about that either. So again, what up?
I'd just like to point out that we're missing the point here.
Eh?
Batman and Robin exist in the same universe as Godzilla and King Kong.
And no one ever thought to bring that up? Hey, you ever heard about that situation down in Japan? Oh yeah, I heard about it from the other day. Huh, what a weird turn of events that is. So, how them Yankees doing?
Okay, moving on. Batman wonders if they are battling Godzilla.
Finally!
They are shown some film of the havoc wreaked by Godzilla the last time around, and they see a portion of the cataclysmic fight with King Kong. That should have been enough to satisfy the beast. At that moment, they receive word that a typhoon has struck Kagoshima, and that is precisely what Klaus Finster predicted would happen. No! You mean the nutcase who was saying that he can control the weather actually controls the weather?
I didn't see that coming.
Batman says that Finster must be behind all this and asks to have a meeting arranged with Finster. But how does one get in touch with Finster? No one knows where to find him. And is he behind the attempt on Batman's life at the airport? At Klaus's headquarters, the man is laughing as he watches the entire proceedings through the eyes of Rico. She is not human at all, but another robot. And her eyes are tiny miniaturized TV cameras, and her ears are microphones. Klaus is up on their every move. He regulates Rico's movements with one hand and sends Godzilla back to the depths with the other. Now he phones Batman at the hotel and says he is quite willing to meet with Batman and arrange a deal. That is, if Batman speaks for the country. Batman, amazed that Klaus knew where to find him and what they were talking about, says he will meet the man the following day. Klaus says Batman should wait on a corner and a taxi will pick him up and transport him to the meeting place. Ito, Gordon, Barbara, and Rico leave after warning Batman to take care. Batman and Robin decide it would be nice to see the city, but they realize they can't very well go touring in their leotards. Batman says, "We can't, but Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson can." He dials an outside line and calls the hotel, asks for the desk, reserves rooms next to Batman and Robin in the names of Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. Stop.
Question.
Yes?
Who's Rico?
Barbara Gordon's librarian friend.
Ah. Anyway, back to the actual situation at hand.
My life as a librarian robot.
I'm going to ignore that for now because, what? What? They're coming from Gotham City to Japan just because they feel like going around looking at stuff? Oh, it's not like there's a supervillain running around here. We gotta use our time to catch up on how all the bad stuff going on here. You maybe gotta jump on them or something, maybe look for a lead or something. No, we're gonna go touring around as our civilian selves and maybe take in a little bit of the sights, you know? What is the problem with this?
Not just that, but wow, Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson. Fancy meeting you here. Did you know Batman and Robin are in the same hotel as you are?
In fact, they're right next door.
Oh, are they? I didn't know.
Wow! How convenient!
Please excuse me, I'm going to bash my head against the desk now.
No, you get back here. Oh.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Dude, we still have half the treatment left to go.
Ow.
Yeah, we're only on page 7 of this treatment, and how many pages are there, Sean?
16.
Okay, so we're about halfway.
So, any other thoughts about that, real quick?
I will just say that if anyone ever questions it, all they have to simply say, "How convenient."
Yeah, there you go. We'll just end with that. How convenient. Okay.
Guys, I had this weird dream that we were reading a treatment for this crossover episode between the old campy Batman series and Godzilla.
No, Conan, we are not. Now, if you excuse us, Sean, please continue the 4 treatment of Batman vs. Godzilla.
Here's some aspirin, Conan.
Wait, what?
Okay. So anyway, now they change into their regular clothes, go downstairs via the back way, and check in again as Bruce and Dick. They are spotted in the lobby by Barbara, Commissioner Gordon, and Rico. They tell the Gordons that they are there on Wayne Foundation business. They'd received word that their Tokyo representative was missing, and they came to choose a new one.
That was just the previous moment.
They say that Batman and Robin are also in the hotel. Commissioner Gordon advises them to leave Batman and Robin alone as they must get their rest. Tomorrow, they have some very important and hush-hush work to do. Klaus watches this all through Rico's eyes and decides he can do without Gordon or his daughter as they are Batman's friends. And 2 American millionaires, more or less, won't be missed.
What?
No, shh, let him finish.
So, Using a high voice, using a high voice, he broadcasts some words through Rico's mouth to the effect that they might like to go to a kabuki show for a little of the local culture. They agree that would be a fine idea. At the kabuki theater, as honored guests, they sit in the front row. After a few moments of the show, in which samurai are seen performing in a classic play, the actors rush down off the stage at the visitors in the front row and begin swinging the swords. Bruce, Dick, Barbara, and Gordon manage to elude the slashing blades, but Rico is not so lucky and her head is severed from her body. After Barbara screams, they note that no blood comes pouring out. All that is seen is a mass of electrical wiring. Stop. I'd like to first point out that congratulations, bad guy. You set up this elaborate trap, and instead, your one spy that gave you the edge ends up getting its head chopped off.
What a clumsy android.
Conan?
Save him for last.
Yeah, okay, Zach.
I would like to point out that we probably have one of the most clumsiest of all cyborgs that we've ever seen.
Well, it's not really a cyborg, but actually just a robot.
Android.
Well, robot humanoid. And yes, I have to say that it was kind of dumb on his plan to basically say, I will lure him into a trap to have my robot destroyed.
Not to mention the whole, like, 2 American millionaires won't be missed.
Billionaires. 2 billionaires will not be missed.
No, they're still millionaires again, 60s. But yeah, high-profile millionaires and an American law officer and his daughter. Yeah, this isn't going to get any media attention whatsoever, especially when it's being done in such a public venue.
Conan, how are you feeling?
I don't like this story very much at all. What is the problem with this guy? He's got this stupid plan. He's got, 2 Americans with lots and lots of money aren't going to be missed. So he sends robot samurai to chop the head off, but he chops his own robot's head off, and then he just went to... I do not much care for this story idea so far.
Alright, I'm moving on. Okay, so Bruce and Dick race out after the 2 actors as 2 of the other actors come on stage and say they found the original actors bound and gagged in their dressing rooms. Then who are the 2 men in makeup who attacked the audience? On the street, Bruce and Dick race through some alleys in hot pursuit. Suddenly, they face a herd of Japanese motorcyclists. The motorcycles bear down on them, and there is no place to run to avoid the bikes. Plus, sharp spikes shoot out from the headlamps of the cycles as they rush towards our heroes. Bruce sees an overhead fire escape about 12 feet high. It's too high to jump to himself, but he picks up Dick and tosses him up there. Dick hangs by his legs, and Bruce executes a perfect trapeze leap and holds on as the deadly cycles go by underneath them. Bruce and Dick return to the theater and suggest they all turn in. It's been enough excitement for one night. But they puzzle about what to do with the remains of Riku. Call the Undertaker or the Junk Man. Next day, Batman and Robin receive a visit from a government emissary. They refuse to be held up for ransom. Batman is glad to hear this. No country should knuckle under to the whims of one man. It could still all be coincidence. Stop.
Riku, when did you get here? I thought you were busy in Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy.
I know, the treatment is misspelled. It says Riku now instead of Rico.
That wouldn't be the stupidest thing that happened here.
Okay, Rory, we'll go with you first this time.
Okay, number 1. Let's see. Undertaker or Junkyard? We almost died. Throwing Dick 12 feet into the air and then performing a perfect trapeze jump himself. Oh, wow. This thing is reaching new heights. Oh, yeah, I went there.
And I do applaud you for that.
Thank you. I don't know what else to say. This thing is making its own jokes at this point.
I like the part where it says, "Oh, we don't really know if it's Finster or not. Could still be coincidence."
Who knows? I mean, the weather could just be acting up again or something like last Tuesday. That was a weird Tuesday.
Yeah, hurricanes made out of fire. What was up with that? Ruined my golf game.
Yeah. Didn't get a chance to go bowling.
Yeah.
Conan?
I was fairly certain there was something I loved about myself in me at some point, but I just can't remember what it was anymore.
Okay, we're going to let you just sit there and listen, and we'll contact you at the end of the treatment.
And Conan, if you start going in fetal position, let us know as soon as you can, alright?
Here's a package of cookies to tide you over.
Cookies.
All right, so continuing on. Perhaps Finster's discovered a new means of weather prediction, and that's why he's so able to do this, make demands and all that. Batman leaves with Robin to meet Klaus. Barbara observes they're leaving, goes through a bat change, yes, it actually says bat change here, in her room, and takes the service elevator to the basement of the hotel. In the basement, Batman and Robin climb into the Batmobile and don't notice the tarp-covered motorcycle in the corner. The Batmobile roars out into the Tokyo streets. Batgirl sees them leave, then gets her Batcycle and follows. On a not-too-crowded Tokyo street corner, Batman and Robin park and see a taxi. The man driving the taxi is Klaus's right-hand man. We'll see him earlier in the production. And he bids Batman and Robin to get in the taxi. He'll take them to Klaus. Batgirl sees this and follows at a short distance, wondering what's going to happen. The man driving the taxi twists a handle and some clamps bind Batman and Robin in their seats, not allowing them to reach for their utility belts. Now the taxi man presses a button on the handle and the entire vehicle is locked tight and gas pours in from some concealed vents. With that, the man stops the taxi, gets out, and calmly walks away. Batgirl cannot see what has happened at first as she is viewing from behind. She follows the man for a moment, then loses him as he walks inside a public bath for men. Now she turns and sees Batman and Robin struggling for their lives in the gas-filled taxi. She pulls a miniature blowtorch from her belt and burns them out. Then she tells them where the man went. They are surprised at seeing her there, but have no time to question her as she directs them to the bath where the man disappeared. Stop.
Zach, you want to go first?
Well, one thing I actually looked ahead was right after it says the man disappeared, the next line says Batman races inside the bath.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting a strange vision of Batman just running in place inside a bathtub. I'm sorry.
Really? Because I'm picturing him racing somebody else with their little rubber duckies. Mine can go faster than yours.
Anyway,
It is truly a very strange sight. But back to the scene at hand. I just like that the guy just casually, just like after bounding Batman and Robin in the taxi and then start filling it with gas. He's just like, time to go on a stroll.
I know, it's like, oh, I just destroyed Batman.
Kind of like, wow, this is about as strange as the weather.
Okay, so Batgirl has a mini blowtorch. Does she keep it in her purse at all times? Where did she get that stuff? She's not Bruce Wayne. She doesn't have the millions that she needs in order to get this equipment. How does she have it?
She's in Japan. You can get one with every plushie.
But this was before the internet was a thing.
All right, so now here comes the next part. All right. I'm going to be stuffing early for this one too. Okay.
Oh boy.
The bath attendant refuses to allow Batman and Robin to go inside unless they remove their clothes. Those are the rules of the house. The dynamic duo reluctantly remove their uniforms but insist that they must wear their masks. They cheat the scene as they race, nude, through the bathhouse wearing naught but their masks and cowl. In one corner of the bathhouse, they find the man floating face down, drowned. Stop.
What is wrong with this story? I can't take it anymore. This is Batman. He's running around naked in a bathhouse in Japan, chasing after a guy who
I think this is the most lively podcast we've had yet.
Oh my gosh, he's foaming at the mouth. Okay, well, regarding this, thus millions of fanfics were born.
Oh gosh, no.
He's right.
No, don't
How
go
fast
there.
did this guy drown? I mean, how long did Batgirl take to break out Batman and Robin?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like,
Hey, that blowtorch takes a while, okay?
And why they don't even mention why the guy is drowned. It's just they find him floating face down, drowned.
Oh, he just happens to be dead now? Okay, sure. We're naked. Okay. How was your day today? What did you do this summer? I ran around naked in a costume as a Batman guy.
Okay, question for a second. Was this guy just so out of it when he took his stroll that he just walked into the bathhouse and then just fell into the pool and that was it?
Maybe he decided that life wasn't living if he could be a robot too.
For some reason, I feel as though like this is what happened. After walking in there, he was like, "I can't believe I killed Batman." Hey, look, a quarter.
What's a quarter doing here in Japan? Nothing makes sense.
No, wait a minute. Of course. He killed Batman. There could be no higher that he could go. Therefore, he might as well end it all now.
Meanwhile, Metropolis.
Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Superman, who is just like, I should really do something.
Commissioner Gordon didn't call me.
Although going back to about them running around in the bathhouse, one thing I have to say is that
do we have to go back to that?
there's two things I should bring up at least. One, at least they're accurate on like about how some bathhouses actually do work in Japan, so at least give them credit on that. Two, I call it fan service because we see naked Batman and Robin.
No!
I don't want to talk about Adam West or Burt Ward in that way.
Make him stop saying things.
All right, moving on with the story before it gets worse.
Quickly.
Right,
Next scene.
All right, on the street, Batgirl gives them some hoked-up story about what she's doing in Tokyo. A newspaper boy walks by with the latest paper. Batman reads it. He is an expert in Japanese among his many other attributes.
Why not?
That's probably the only thing that makes any sense.
Finster has notified the government that he intends to create a firestorm in Takata, on the west coast of Japan. Batman, Robin, and Batgirl make haste to leave for the city. In Takata, the city has been evacuated. Even if the government doesn't believe these things can happen, the people do. Batman, Robin, and Batgirl sit in a 5-story pagoda in the center of town and look off towards the sea. It is eerily quiet. Batman realizes that all the disasters have taken place in coastal cities, which leads him to believe that Finster is operating some sort of amphibious vehicle. Suddenly, they are struck by the sight of Godzilla! The beast blows his incredible breath and starts a fire that sweeps across the city. The dynamic trio barely manage to escape aboard the Batcopter. Godzilla sees them and attempts to bring them down with swipes of his tail and paws. Batman, at the helm of the copter, anticipates Godzilla's every move and notes that this animal is not fighting like an animal. It is fighting like a man. All the moves seem to be carefully planned, 2 lefts and a right, etc. Certainly not what you'd expect from a monster with a brain the size of a pea. The dynamic trio returns to Tokyo and asks for immediate appointments with powers in the government. At Tokyo Police Headquarters, and I am stopping after this, Batman talks with Police Chief Sadakichi O'Hara, who resembles our own Chief O'Hara more than a little. Stop.
Guys.
Yeah.
It took a while, but it finally happened.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
Batman is now finally fighting Godzilla.
Yeah.
In an episode of Batman that's supposed to be pretty much primarily about that. And Godzilla is boxing like Muhammad Ali. What is going on here? I mean, I know technically what's going on in story as to why this is happening, but come on, he does. Also, Godzilla has 2 freaking brains.
Yeah, but one's in his butt.
Yes. So the guy needs to get his facts straight, because that would make this thing good if he got that one part right. Except no, wait, no, that doesn't matter. What is?
Okay, anything from Rory?
I so want to see that whole Batman versus Godzilla thing. I'm sorry, but that would just make everything else so worth it. Although I do have to question, did they remember to take time to put Batman and Robin back in their costumes? Or did they meet Barbara out in the street after they just rushed out finding the guy in the water?
Hey, all I gotta say is, there's no time, Godzilla!
I certainly hope so. Okay, moving on.
We'll just say that they're covered.
Okay, moving on with the story. We're almost done.
Quick, the bat towels of decency.
Okay, yes. Back to breakfast at O'Hare's.
Okay. O'Hara offers all of his men to help. Just a few more days until Finster claims he will destroy all of Japan. Batman says they must now wait for Finster's next move. At a Tokyo tea house, Batman and Robin meet with the Minister of Defense, who has instructions from the heads of state, millions for defense, not 1 cent for tribute. Batman is glad to hear this and comments on the courage of these people. That same line was uttered by a great American, Charles Cotesworth Pinckney, when minister to the French Republic in 1797. There's your history lesson for today. Batman says he will aid the government with his last drop of blood to defend Japan from this menace. And with that, the Minister of Defense is struck down by poison in the tea. Batman manages to save his life with the universal antidote, because that exists, and races after the geisha that served them. It is not a geisha at all, but a man in drag.
Of course, because why wouldn't it be?
Batman catches up to him in a small room in the tea house. The man is an expert at karate, and there begins a fight between the two of them that ruins the interior of the delicate room. Batman, who is also adept in the ways of Oriental defense, manages to overcome the man. But before he can say anything, he is killed by a ninja mace that is thrown from an outside window. The assassin flees. So I'd like to just point out real quick that they hired an assassin to kill the Minister of Defense, and then they hired another assassin to kill the assassin.
This guy is just really good at covering his tracks.
Is there like an endless string of assassins killing other assassins for this particular line of things?
Well, they are in Japan, land of the ninja, so you know what? Just about everybody in the street corner knows something about that.
No. Even ninjas aren't enough to save this particular story. Ninjas, they're not awesome enough to save this.
We have to remember that we are not in the ninja district.
All right. Oh, well.
I hate you.
It's okay, Conan. This story hates you.
Good. Hey, Conan, good news. 2 pages left.
Thank you very much, Batman, for the history lesson. You know, in this midst of you fighting the giant mythical monster, we all needed a moment of education. The more you know.
They got poisoned and he used a universal antidote.
Yes, how universal is this? Can it be used for everything? 'Cause, you know, I think the...
Heavy metal poisoning, curare, snake venom.
Yeah, I think medical centers would really like to get their hands on
that. Anyway, so let's finish this up. Batman speaks before the Diet and is overwhelmingly approved when he says they will fight this monster to the death. Word is now brought that Osaka is the next target. Aboard the bullet train to Osaka, in a private compartment, Batman, Ito, Robin, Barbara, and Commissioner Gordon discuss the situation. Batman chose this place to talk because it seems every other place is swarming with bugging devices and or killers. This seemed like the safest place for a conversation and the fastest way to Osaka, as the roads leave much to be desired. Barbara makes some comment about her attempting to find Bruce and Dick. Batman says Wayne and Grayson told him they went off on a tour of the northern interior. Batman tells the others Finster must be behind all this and somehow harness the incredible power of Godzilla for his own uses. But even this train is not safe from Finster's prying eyes. Klaus is seen watching their every move. The train conductor is one of his men. The real conductor is tied up and struggling in the washroom. A TV device is planted in the compartment so Finster knows exactly what is planned. Ito and Gordon and Barbara get off the train at Nagoya, as do all the other passengers. Only 2 people are willing to take the ride to Osaka, Batman and Robin. At the station, Barbara slips away from her father and reboards the train as Batgirl. And so do 5 enormous sumo wrestlers. Stopping there.
Because that's an easy thing for 5 sumo wrestlers to do. Fives. Okay, we're in Japan. Let's throw some sumo in there. Because why not?
Let's just point out that we can pretty much assume that Commissioner Gordon and Ito and who knows how many other passengers are still present, and these 5 sumos and Batgirl get on the train, and no one tries to warn.
Nothing seems suspicious about this. Hi, Batgirl. How you doing? Konnichiwa, Mr. Big Fat Japanese guy. Good afternoon, Mr. Big Fat Other Japanese guy. Mr. Other Japanese Fat guy. Well, fancy meeting all of you here in the same train as a superhero.
Well, they didn't want to be rude, that's why.
My theory is that they were sampling wasabi and were so taken aback by it that they didn't notice the sumo wrestlers.
I would believe that.
That's a stupid thing.
All right, so let's finish this up. They attack the dynamic trio, and a fight ensues in the railroad car that absolutely destroys the place. Batman, Robin, and Batgirl emerge victorious, but their worst trial is yet to come. Stepping out of the waters of the bay comes Godzilla. The bullet train goes right past this bay. Godzilla destroys the train and sends Batman and Robin flying into the water. Now he picks up the unconscious Batgirl and looks at her. Love happens to Godzilla.
Stop. Stop. This is as far as I got in the treatment. When this happened, when I read those words, I just can't. I don't remember what it was, but I threw something at the wall. It may have been my soul. I don't know. All I know is when I got to that point, I started singing that classic Fighting Leap hit, I hate everyone, I really, really do.
Okay, Rory, go ahead.
Okay, so apparently Godzilla's fight with King Kong left some lasting impressions on the giant lizard. Oh my gosh, he fell in love with Batgirl. Ah!
There is so much wrong with this.
No, you had your say.
And the fan fiction writers continue.
No.
Yes.
Stop it, fanfiction writers. You're ruining everything.
I'll say this is not the weirdest fanfiction I've heard. I've heard of a weirder one.
Well, don't do it.
Don't mention it.
No. Worst part is, it's real.
No, I don't want to hear it.
No one cares. No one wants
It's
to hear
Shrek
your...
and Luigi.
No! Stop it!
Go back!
We're going back to the love triangle between Batman, Batgirl, and Godzilla.
All right, I am continuing on because I think we're just about at the last page. If this might be the last page. All right. Despite all the efforts of Klaus to have the animal crush the girl, its will overcomes the electronic force exerted, and he deposits her gently by the side of the road and leaves. This move is not lost on Batman, who rightly reckons that Godzilla itself may not be bad, rather it is the force behind him. Godzilla leaves to destroy Osaka.
What?
Okay.
The army attempts to stop him with mortars, rockets, etc. They are wiped out. Back in Tokyo, now the country knows what's been causing all the trouble. Godzilla has returned to taunt them. Yeah, I'm in Stray City. Wow. Okay, Finster notifies the government that his next target is Tokyo. Come across with the money or all Tokyo is gone. Batman and Robin meet with Ito and Gordon. 8 million people are evacuated in less than 12 hours.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
Stop. 8 million people are evacuated in less than 12 hours. A fantastic feat of people moving. That's what it says.
I'm sorry, is this Uwe Bolls alone in the dark? That doesn't happen. No. It would Godzilla taunting them and follow Barbara Gordon and just stop over Osaka, the city that brought us the castle with the golden poop monument on top of it, and then Godzilla just I used to be able to contribute clever and interesting commentary before this thing came along. I used to have thoughts and opinions that were based on somewhat reasonable, rational, whatever my thing is, but this story gives me nothing. it gives me nothing at all to process in a logical, reasonable way. It's like watching the first Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie.
Maybe you should go back and watch Alpha and Omega, and you'll get some ideas from there.
How about you shut up?
All right, Rory, what do you got?
Oh, okay. So the power of love is stronger than any mind control. That is a wonderful lesson to learn from a Godzilla movie. And taunting the populace. Yes, I can picture Godzilla doing that. It was the 70s. It was the goofy period of his movies. Getting all the people moved out of Tokyo. Oh, man. A wonderful feat of people moving. I can just see Batman standing at the top of a building saying, "Okay, people, I need you to move to your right. Keep going until I say stop." And that's it.
No, what I think is funny is that what if he never said stop? They just kept moving.
Well, then, if he forgot, eventually they'd just go out into the sea, and he'd be wondering, "I think I forgot. Whoops."
No, they emerge from the sea and they just keep going. Just keep going.
And that's when New Atlantis was established in the Pacific. They call it Pacificus Totalis. Because why not? I would not put that past this show.
Pacificus, really? Okay, now we get to the end. It has been decided that since nothing can stop Godzilla, there is no use to try. Even the army leaves. Well, we tried. All Tokyo is empty. Finster sees the city emptying and notes that there will be no defense. So he is flushed out of his hideout and takes the opportunity to ride down through the empty, and they never finish the treatment after that word. So guys, guess what we get to do?
What?
We each get to come up with a way this could end.
I want to.
No,
I
I
want to.
haven't.
Okay. We'll go Conan, Rory,
Through the
and
empty. It has to continue with through the empty.
Okay, no. Okay, who wants to go last? Who wants to go first?
I'll go last. I have 2.
I'm going last.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll do it. We'll just do it the same way we did. Conan, Rory, and Zach. Conan, go ahead. How would you like this to end?
Fine. Okay. So, we have our triumphant Mr. Finster Nazi man riding down the city streets, and he is parading himself in front of his great and powerful creation, or Godzilla, not his creation, but still, he is walking down, telling him, "Knock over that building," and he does. And he says, "Knock over that building," and he does. But then, in his great arrogance, he just says, "Now just destroy everything all around you," and Godzilla steps on him. The end.
But Batman didn't even do anything.
I don't care. The end.
What if that was good Conan? What about Pacificus?
I do not care. The end.
Batman went on to be the mayor of Pacificus.
I don't care. It would bring it to an end.
Okay, is that what you got? Is that literally what you got?
That is what I got.
Okay, Rory, give us yours.
All right, I have 2. First, he goes down Tokyo Boulevard there, commanding Godzilla to destroy everything in his path in front of him. No, he does not step on him. Sorry, Conan. And he contacts his leader, who turns out to be the 2 clones of Hitler, who has been devising this ever since the first attack from Godzilla. Batman comes in. He fights Godzilla for a little while in his jet using missiles and lasers and stuff, and finally he's able to break the mind control and communicate with Godzilla somehow, and they come to a mutual understanding. Meanwhile, the twin clones of Hitler, they fly over to Japan in their giant mech suit, and Batman, riding Godzilla, fights those 2 Hitler clones and knocks them for a loop. The day is saved. Godzilla goes back down into the ocean. New friend and ally to Batman. The people of Japan are very thankful to Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. And Batman goes home and finds out that the Joker has taken over while he was away because Chief O'Hara is an idiot.
Oh, don't worry. The Joker's in for a surprise. Hey, I got somebody I would like you to meet.
The second version, Batman decides that he cannot take on Godzilla alone. So he goes out to the ocean to find himself a new ally, one who has already defeated Godzilla. He goes and gets King Kong. The Batman fights the human villain while King Kong fights the lizard villain.
Well, it would make things go full circle.
All right, is that what you got?
That is all that I got.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, after all the citizens have, of course, evacuated the city and Tokyo is completely empty, Finster then, of course, takes Godzilla out for a ride, actually riding on his back and everything, with, like, his own recliner and everything. And he's just like, let's destroy the city! And Godzilla did so. But what happened was that Batman then was able to sneak on top of Godzilla, destroy the device that's actually inside of him, but because because Godzilla ate Batman in an earlier scene, you didn't see that though. We didn't have to tell you.
What? What?
Keep going.
What?
Keep going, Zach.
What?
And so what happened was that after the device that was controlling Godzilla was destroyed, Godzilla then became an ally to Batman. And then he did discover Finster's on his back, but then Finster discovers that he is not who he says he is. He then takes off his mask and reveals that he is actually King Kong in disguise.
Really? Okay.
What a twist!
And then Con and Bell exploded. They all died. The end.
Hey, wait a minute. You haven't heard mine yet.
Okay, go.
No one cares about yours.
We know yours is not going to beat us, so.
I promise you'll like this.
Uh-huh.
So Finster's driving down the road, right? Okay, and he's about to take over Tokyo. It looks like, nobody can survive this. Then Batman decides to do the only thing he can do to save Tokyo and possibly the entire world.
Oh no, don't tell me he does the Batusi.
No, he gets up off the set, goes into the writing room, grabs the script, and shreds it.
Da-da-da-da! That is the best ending of all! This whole travesty no longer exists! Sean, you are America's greatest hero!
No.
Thank you!
No.
Thank you!
No,
Everyone
Conan,
cheer
don't.
and applaud
No,
for Sean right now!
Conan, that's horrible. Don't you see? That would lock them into a time loop. Batman destroys the script. That means that the whole story would have no way of existing. Therefore, he would have no way of shredding the script. Therefore, the script would reappear again. The whole story would
I
start
don't
again.
care! Shred it up.
No.
Logic has no part in this story anyway, so just go back in time, make it not happen, and boom, move on with your life.
Anyway, so, yeah, but in all honesty, reading that treatment, it's like they were really intent on making that.
And they were going to make it dark.
Yeah, there was going to be like characters were people were going to, die, and there was going to be like and yet you got Batman over here, Adam West Batman, with the whole silliness and all that on the same on the side. It's like that is a very odd mix.
He's running around naked.
You're not going to get over that, are you?
Hey, at least he's covering his face. Hey, at least he's covering his face.
Yes, because that's the important thing to cover.
Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining me for probably the most craziest episode we've had yet.
Who knows? It may get crazier in later episodes.
Yeah, it might. Anyway, for Comic Books Go to the Movies, I'm Sean Basing at the Fox and the Fedora.
I'm Conan Bell, the Broken Leaf.
And I'm Zach Elliott, the Menace of Games.
And I am the Tiger Wolf 55 saying, I want this movie to happen! Let Batman fight Godzilla and Hitler!
No.
You have sick problems.
I'm getting help.
And goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.